I'm out here to listen and hear what I've got to say on myself, my journey, my coaching, bodybuilding, the whole fitness journey that I've ever really been on, and what got me to where I am and why I do what I do and what I do. So I just wanted to start today by basically introducing myself. So I'm Haider, as you know. I've been in the fitness industry working in the fitness industry for the last 10 years as a personal trainer and an online coach. And then before that, I've always been involved in sports. It's always been something that I've kind of done as a hobby, which was always football, martial arts, which then moved into training in the gym and then bodybuilding. So I kind of got into bodybuilding from just training in the gym, people noticing that I was starting to get into shape. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. I was just training like you all do when you first start training with your friends, just there to have a laugh and just really improve the way you look, but not really knowing the key fundamentals to improve yourself apart from training and doing what you've read in a magazine or what somebody's telling you to do in the gym. So I started doing that. Didn't really know what I was doing in terms of nutrition, but I started making a change to my physique and people started noticing. So people then who were older and had been in the gym for a long time recommended that maybe I should do a bodybuilding show, which was at the time, men's physique was pretty new there and I didn't really know much about anything. So I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, what kind of show? So then they showed me, it kind of appealed to me a little bit, more so the fact that I was on a bit of a journey that maybe I shouldn't have really been on, got in a bit of trouble as a youngster, and it gave me that structure, it gave me something that I wanted to work towards and a goal that I'd never really experienced or didn't really even have a clue where it would take me and how well I would do or anything. And I remember it really well because the first time I competed, I didn't even have a clue about what I was doing until I got backstage, and then I was like, fucking hell, shit, like, I'm about to step on stage in front of all these people, like, without my top on. I don't even know what I'm doing. I didn't even learn how to pose, no one taught me anything. I just ended up getting in good shape, getting on stage, and then the rest is history kind of thing. But it was a bit of a whirlwind kind of journey because one day I was training in the gym, the next day I was kind of on stage, and it was like, shit, okay, now I know what I want to do. Now, I didn't get anything out of that competition. I didn't place. I was told I should have placed, and I did look in good condition, but it didn't happen for whatever reason. This is bodybuilding, it's very kind of hit and miss in terms of who wins shows and whatever else. It's not always that the best guy wins. I'm not saying I was the best guy, but yeah, that's another conversation. And so then obviously that was my journey to the stage, and then it was all about how I wanted to be better than I was and how I wasn't happy with my placing. So then you start looking into things a little bit more, you start training with people that know more, people that have got experience, coaches, etc. And it just went from there. I got better again. I started winning shows, placing in shows, getting a bit more of a reputation, been in a couple of magazines, had some interviews, win some big titles, competed abroad in Arnold Classics and Diamond Cups and stuff like that. Which then obviously over a few years, I've been competing. My first show was at the end of 2013, so we're coming up to like 6-7 years now. So it has been quite a long time, and I'll be honest with you, it's flew by. But I'm at the point now where I'm knocking on the door of turning professional, so these things do take time. It is a bit of a, although I do say that these things do take time, there are cases where a genetic freak will turn up and turn pro in his first show, second show, whatever. But for most of us, for the general consensus, we've got to put the work in and literally go for it until you're at the level where you need to be. And then even then you're probably not going to be happy because you want to get better, and then the competition increases in terms of the standards, so you have to get even better again. And this is where I'm at now, so I'm always getting better, I'm always trying to get better, I'm always trying to compete with the best people around, in the best federations, in the best competitions. So that kind of brings me on to what it kind of takes to get to these kind of levels and competing at these standards of shows. So obviously mindset is everything, if I'm honest. That's the fundamental that everybody's going to have to need. You're going to need that drive and that commitment and that consistency that you can apply to this. So changing your physique is something that's not easy, especially when you're going to come from, let's say, somebody that just eats what they want, trains here and there, and then they want to get on stage. It's a complete turnaround. So you're going to have to be ready for that mentally. You're going to have to really, really apply yourself like you've never applied yourself before. I mean, I've got a couple of my clients in here who are on that journey, been on that journey. So we've got Abbas here, we've got Omar there. So they're both Abbas is now increasing his food and gaining size, but he literally, how much weight did we lose?
20 kilos?
About 20 kilos in body fat.
Yeah, he showed us his pic, bro.
Yeah, so he changed dramatically. I mean, you've all seen Mo's big changes. So we've done a few preps, we've done a few shows. Every time we go from an out of shape Mo to an incredible, an incredible Mo on stage, which is always massive eye opener for everyone, myself included, because he's got a great set of genetics. And obviously I've got Omar now who's doing his first show, and he's come right down. We've dropped quite a lot of body fat, still got a bit to go, but we're definitely on track. And without losing what I was talking about, the commitment and the mindset and the determination that you're going to need to get yourself down to a very, very low percentage of body fat is something that you may never have ever done before. You may have to draw on times and feelings that you will never ever have felt. Basically, the body doesn't really want to be in that state. It doesn't want to be below 10% body fat. It's not generally healthy for the body to be there. Your hormones are regulated, and body fat levels will impact your hormones. So you can really feel a lot of feelings that you're not going to enjoy, but then that's where mindset and determination comes in again, where you have to be stronger than the way that you're feeling, where the ultimate goal has to outweigh everything, where that goal of getting on stage and looking the best that you've ever looked has to be bigger to you and more important to you than when you're struggling and tired and you're hungry and you want to eat this or you want to go there, you want to enjoy this. You've got to shut them off, and you've literally got to go for it. Thinking and talking about stuff like that now, there are ways of getting in shape. So we can all get in shape, okay? There's getting in shape, then there's getting on stage in shape. They're two completely different things, okay? So we can get you in shape, and you can still go and have a meal once a week. You can still go and maybe have a night out once a month. Do you know what I mean? You can do that sort of thing and still get in shape, because those little nights out or the little meal here and there, they will impact your journey, they will slow your journey down, but at the end of it, you're not trying to get on stage, so you're not trying to get to below 5% body fat. You're not trying to take yourself to those places where it doesn't want to be. So you can get away with a little bit of leeway, but when you're getting on stage, it's a different ball game. You've got to get to that horrible place and sit there and be comfortable in that uncomfortable position. So you hear it a lot, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's true, you need to find that. Like, you're never going to be completely happy. Obviously you're not, because like I said, your body doesn't want to be there. But you put up with it, you dig in, you drive on, you continue to do what you need to do until you achieve that goal. So it's all about setting the goal that's important to you and making sure that you have the drive, the determination, the commitment, the consistency, the day in, day out, getting your cardio in, the day in, day out, eating the same foods, the day in, day out, being organised and preparing your food for the next day, getting it all set, making these routines into daily habits. So it's all about trying to simplify it and make it as easy as you can make it. So like, you get up every morning, you go in the bathroom and you brush your teeth without even thinking about it. So then that element there, if you think about that, that's how you have to make getting up and going to do your cardio every morning. It's like brushing your teeth. You gotta fucking do it. You ain't gonna not brush your teeth Unless you're a dirty bastard. You know, maybe not a very good, very good one to use. But like I said, you want that goal. So this is what you got to do it. So X and Y equals Z. So you got to do X, you got to do Y to get Z. That's how it works. And if you don't do X and you only do Y, you're not going to get Z. So you got to think about it like that. These are all routines, daily habits, normal shit. Make shit that's not normal, normal. Wake up in the morning and set that. So, okay, right, tomorrow, cardio in the morning, then I'll eat again, then I'll go and hit the weights, then I'll come back, then I'll do a bit of work, then I'll eat again, then I'll go for a walk. Just make it routine. Then you ain't got to think about it. Then you ain't got to worry about it. Then you ain't got to stress about it. It's just normal habits, things that happen naturally. Once you kind of get that under control, things will never be easy, but they'll feel a lot easier, trust me. They'll feel so much easier. Cardio won't be such a ball ache because it's normal, it's daily routine. It's like getting up for your job. Like, obviously not everybody enjoys their job, but you get it up and you get it done because it's one of them things that you got to do. You got to apply that to prep, diet, cardio, training, make it all happen, I guess. So, let me just have a little look at my notes. Yeah, so I mean, mental strength, discipline. Everything in life needs discipline, everything in life needs rules. Without it, chaos. Religion governs a lot of people's lives because of the laws of the religion. You stick by them. You have to apply those sort of things to prep, to diet, to training. Everything has to have a bit of a rigid side. Everything has to have a little bit of a law or some do's and don'ts. And that's just the way it is. So the sooner you can sort of let that in, take it in and accept it, you're gonna make your journey a lot easier. Don't try and find the easy way out. Don't listen to so-and-so on Instagram telling you that you can eat cakes and still get in shape. Because yeah, you probably can, but you're not gonna get in the shape that you wanna get into. And it's not gonna give you the discipline and the habits that you want because it's going against what you really should be doing. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's one way of, well, I guess that's everything when it comes to this sort of stuff. You really need to be switched on and you really need to be focused to the point that nothing can really overtake this goal. So bear that in mind if you are thinking of competing or getting into some really, really good shape. Make it a priority. Make sure that you're determined enough to see the goal through to the end and be prepared for some hard times. So when it comes down to getting in shape, the two most important factors, in my opinion, are food and training. You will hear a lot of people say, okay, 70% food, it's all made in the kitchen, abs are made in the kitchen, and 30% training. Not at all. You need to be 100% with both of them. 50-50, you've got to give it your all. So there's no point being the best and the cleanest eater and just eating the same foods every day, then training like a little bitch in the gym. It ain't gonna help. You ain't gonna get what you want out of it. You're not gonna look the way you wanna look. Hard training is key. It's so key. People don't train hard. People think they train hard, but they don't train hard. I'm telling you now, they don't train hard, okay? You have to be willing to take your body to its max. So you've got to take it to failure. If you really want to change, you've got to take your body to failure. And this is sometimes hard to explain to people because as a human being, as a human body, you have senses, okay? And your body's going to tell you what to do and what not to do. It's like a fire. You put your hand in the fire, you're going to burn, it's going to hurt, and you're going to instantly pull that hand away because of the pain. Because of your nerves, because of the senses sending messages to the brain. So it's a similar sort of way. It might be a bit of an extreme comparison, but if you're thinking about training, okay, when you're hitting the weights and you're pumping and you're getting a real good feel, you're getting a good squeeze, you're getting a good contraction, you're starting to feel that burn and the pain sets in and then you stop. That's when you don't stop. That's when you have to ignore that feeling, that message telling you to stop. Because that's when the magic happens. That's when the body will respond to your training. So taking things to failure in your mind might be, okay, yeah, I failed on that. I stopped when it was really hurting. That's not failure. Failure is mechanical failure. That's when the body decides to stop. So if you're pressing something 100 kilos and you get to 10 reps and you rack it, you probably could have done 2, 3, 4, 5 more reps, but you're saving them for the other sets. Don't make sense. Go to failure on that first set. Then that second set, you shouldn't be able to get 10 reps again. If you just failed on 10, second set you shouldn't be able to get 10 on the same weight. If you think about it, you shouldn't be able to do that. If you can, then you didn't lift heavy enough on the first one, or you didn't take it to failure.
So what do you think about like warm-up reps, warm-up sets? You know, people go 3, 4 sets and then they hit their max on their 4th or whatever.
Yeah, so the way I think the best way to warm up is acclimating towards the weight. So that's familiarising yourself with the weight that you're going to lead up to. So everybody kind of knows what they're going to fail at when they're experienced and when they've been training for a few years or whatever. So let's, for instance, say I can do, I don't know, bench press, I can do 100 kilos for 15 reps, yeah? I know that if I get to 15, that's going to be about my failure point. 14, 15, 16 reps, something like that. So if I were to do that for my working set, I would say start with the bar, do 10, 15 reps. Put a 20 on either side, so 60 kilos, aim for like 8, maybe 10 again. Then I'd go 80 kilos, aim for 8. I'd go 90 kilos, aim for like 5. And then I'd go 95, I'd do 1 rep, and then I'd go 100 kilos and bang it for 15. So
When you got that?
Sorry?
When you got that?
No, because that's so much difference in weight. So when I'm doing 100 kilos for 15 and I'm doing 80 for like 6, that's not going to take away anything from the set. All that's doing is preparing me for that set. It's putting enough blood in the muscles that I'm going to get a good warm up. I'm going to get enough circulation around the chest so that I can then maximise that set and take it to failure and take it all the way.
So those first sets, none of them are your working sets?
They don't count, no. The failure sets are the working sets. Warm up sets aren't working sets. A lot of people don't warm up enough. They don't take their time going through their sets, and when they get to their working set, then they're not lifting their maximum because they're not warm enough. The body's not ready. It can't do what they want to do. Often, like Dave's someone that I train with very regularly, even as at this stage now, sometimes we don't warm up enough. You think you have, you do your set on that exercise, you move on to the next exercise, and then you're even stronger. You're like, I didn't fucking warm up properly. I could have done more on that if I'd have took my time through my warm-up sets.
Would you warm up on every single exercise you do, or the first one?
No, I'd warm up probably on the first or the second, depending on the movements. So the movements are key because obviously certain muscle groups will need a little bit of a warm-up because you're going to do, let's say, an incline chest movement. You're going to then put a bit of shoulder in. You're going to put a bit of front delt in as well as your chest. So you might have to warm up after doing flat bench because you're then involving a few other muscle groups that haven't been involved before, so you might need to warm up again. But essentially, not on every single exercise. So let's say after the first two compounds, you're probably going to be good to go just getting involved in the next exercise because you've warmed up progressively and then you've done working sets on 2. So if you think about it, well, how I explained it, you're probably doing 4 warm-up sets and then 2 to 3 working sets. You do that twice, that's what, 8, 9, 10, 11, what,
well,
15?
If you're not warm by then, you should be worried, shouldn't you really?
Well, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Two compound examples.
Yeah, but that's the thing, I mean, and then there's the difference though, isn't there? There's a difference in warming up and then trying a machine that's going to put you in a different plane of movement. So it might not necessarily be a warm-up, but you need to feel that machine, how it's moving. Does it feel nice? Is it getting the right muscle? Do you know what I'm saying? So if we're going to go flat bench, incline bench, and then go to, let's say, a machine press, like the one in the corner, I'd have to try that first without just stacking the weight on it, because I don't know how it's going to feel. I don't know what part of my chest and my front delt is really going to overload. So you're going to have to try it. So you might not have to warm up, but you're going to have to give it a go.
How crucial is pyramiding in between sets? In warming up, I would say.
As I explained, you mean?
Just completely not the same, yeah?
Yeah, I think pretty much what I said is a pyramid. It's a pyramid warm-up.
That's why I tried to compare it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, but pyramid their working sets.
Correct.
They can go up or they can go down. These are a lot of techniques that are old school, I guess. In my opinion, I mean, this is the other thing about, I don't want to confuse people, because when it comes to fitness, there's a lot of opinions going around. Do you know what I'm saying? And a lot of things work. It's not all what I'm telling you today is the only way to work. I like doing one heavy load set with a back off set. Sometimes another back off. 2 to 3 working sets max on each exercise. Whereas I've got friends in Kuwait now training like fucking animals, like doing like crazy drop sets and supersets and 15 reps into 15 reps into 15 reps. One set, one working set, and then they move on, then they do that again. They do it in the morning and they do it in the evening. 6 days in a row. And they're all massive and they're all ripped. Do you know what I'm saying? So it works. Do you know the key element? Fucking hard work, fucking hard training, taking it to failure. That's what they're doing, that's what I'm doing. That's why we're all in shape, because the basics are there. We're fucking grafting. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the key. The reps and the sets and everything else, that's not the main way. That's not the way to do it. It's all about how hard you can work and how much effort you can put into every single set consistently over time. So that's for me, that's the way to do it. Like, you have to get enjoyment out of training. Like, you can't just be married to one way. Like, if I give you a workout, I'm gonna give you my style of training, because it's what I believe in, it's what I enjoy, and it's what I've seen gets results. So I give you that. You come back to me 2 weeks later, bro, I fucking hate this shit, man, I don't like it. I'm not getting on with it at all. I'll be like, you know what, that's cool, thank you for telling me. How about this, try this. More volume, drop sets, supersets. Fundamentals, work hard. That's it. Get the results. So it's not all about the way I do it, it's not the only way to do it, but the only way to really get in shape is by fucking pushing and giving it your everything. So they're the things you need to remember, right? So, yeah, that's it, like taking your sets all the way, taking them to failure. It's something that, sometimes it can be hard to do. It can be hard to do because, like I said, sensories, your body's senses are telling you to stop. And you've got to try and ignore that, but once you do tap into that, you'll be able to get there. And I really do honestly think, if you're sitting here now listening to me and thinking, yeah, fucking I could train harder, I could push a few more reps out on that and this, and you really do listen and implement this, just this, you're gonna see a change. I guarantee you 100%.
How many sets are you doing to failure? Like,
all of them. Every single working set will be going to failure, without a doubt. So it sounds extreme, but it's the way to change your body quickly. It's the way to grow. It's the way to change.
Yeah, so here, so from what you're saying, we're taking that your first working set is your heaviest one.
Yeah.
Then your second one is lighter than the first one.
Yeah.
As opposed to what normal.
So basically, for me, to get in shape, to get big, yeah, it's about getting strong across a multitude of rep ranges. So it's not about just getting strong doing 4 to 6 reps. So my first set will be a minimum of 5 reps to a maximum of 7 reps. Fail within that number there, 5 to 7. So you fail there. My second set will be 10 to 12 or 10 to 15. So I have to go lighter, but I still want to fail in that number. So then my strength isn't only restricted to low numbers. I'm strong at 10 reps, 15, 20, 5, do you know what I'm saying? So that's how to really maximize your growth, because you're getting strong across every single rep range. In my opinion, that's the best way to do it, because you're not holding back on anything. You're getting the best and the most out of every single rep range. You're gonna get big pumps, you're gonna get strong, you're gonna get amazing contractions, hit them all. Hit them all. Even at the end of your set, sometimes chucking a drop set for your isolation work. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's all about varying it enough, but keeping it consistent. So another thing for me is logging. So I like to log what I do, because as good a memory that you might have, you're gonna forget things, especially when it comes to using like machines and like pin loading stuff. That you're gonna forget certain weights, even dumbbells and barbells, and how many reps and sets you did. So get your workout plan, get your logbook, go old school. I don't use my phone, I use an actual book, I write in it. So I'll write the workout out, and I'll make sure that every single time I come to train that session, I'm improving on the last one. So your logbook then becomes your training partner. You don't need to train with anyone when you've got this book, because when you're walking into that gym and you're like, okay, yeah, I've got push today, or chest, or back, or whatever, and you're like, right, this is what I did last time. Oh shit, 200 kilo deadlift, I got 8 reps. I need to today get 9 reps, or do 205 kilos, and that's that. At the bare minimum, I need to get 200 kilos for 8 reps. That's the minimum. Otherwise, then you're not progressing. Every single time you get into that gym, you need to be aiming for some kind of progression. Whether that's 1 rep or 1 kilo, or put. You know what I've got in my gym bag? It's in the car now. I'll show you. I bought 2.5 kilo plates. They stay in my gym bag because you don't get them in the gym. The smallest plate you get in the gym is a 1.25. Sometimes that's too big. Sometimes that's too much of a jump up in strength. You ain't gonna get that. Get your 0.5 out. You know what that 0.5 will turn into next time? The 1.25. Then it'll be 2.5. Then it'll be 5. Then it'll be 10. Then it'll be 20. That's how to do it. You've got to aim for some sort of progression every single time that you're training. So make it about that. That's why that logbook is so good. Because it holds you accountable. You know you're gonna have to work hard, because last time you fucking busted your ass on them deadlifts. Now you're like, shit, I've got to fucking do that again. I've got to find something in me to at least match that. When you're dieting and you're tired, that's what's keeping you going, because you might not know it, yeah, but what built muscle is gonna hold that muscle. So basically, let's say you're on a diet, your body is now fighting to drop body fat and retain muscle. What's going to retain that muscle? Heavy lifting. Why? Because that's what got you it. You start being a little bitch because you're tired and you're hungry, you're going to get small. You're not just going to lose body fat, you're going to lose muscle, because you're not stimulating it enough for it to hang around. It's not going to stay. When that diet kicks in, it's going to eat that as well. So you need to keep it there. You need to push hard. You need to maintain the numbers that you've been maintaining for the year throughout, and even try and get stronger. So I really, really do recommend logbooking your sessions and making it a little. You might think it's a bit geeky or whatever, do you know what I mean? Getting a book out, and like some people care more about what he thinks over there than your own progression. Fuck what they think. It's about you. Why are you in it? Why are you training? It's not for him. It's for you, isn't it? Or your missus, or you know what I mean? Like, or whoever else. When you get home, when you look in the mirror, you want to be proud of what you're looking at. He ain't there when he's at home. Do you know what I'm saying? So fuck what anyone else thinks. Get your book out, log your sessions, and improve. Make everything, every time you train, an opportunity to improve. It's like anything in life. Like, why would you not want to get better at stuff? Do you know what I'm saying? Why would you not want to get bigger, stronger? Why would you not want to get clever? Like, you can apply it to anything. Education. You should always want to get better. You should always want to learn more. It's so many different things in life that can be transferred over to the gym, can be transferred over to training and nutrition. So yeah, think about that when it comes down to training, that it's about you, it's your journey. Improve, progress, log, get it all down, and make sure that you're improving. I know sometimes you might think to yourself, fuck logbooking, like, that's gay, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? It's true, I've been there. I can only speak from experience, but once you start doing it, and you start actually paying attention to what you're doing, you won't want to go without it. You won't want to go without it. So, yeah, that's a bit on mindset. Yeah,
do you train on your own, or do you train with others? Or?
I train with Dave quite a lot, but he worked, that's Dave there in the red.
Yeah.
I train with him quite a lot, but I train on my own a lot too. So we fit in where we can. I prefer to train with him because we train the same, we push each other, do you know what I'm saying? And you can have a little conversation. It's not all about being completely silent and regimented and no phones and all that sort of shit. But I don't need anyone to train with, put it that way. I can progress and get on with my own shit. Like
a logbook helps that, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like I said, it's like your training partner. It's there to keep you accountable. It's there to make sure that you don't train like a pussy.
Yeah.
So I've done complete preps on my own before, and I've done them with training partners before. So yeah, I think I do really think that's really important. I really do. Whilst we're still talking about training, I'm going to just talk about exercises, exercise selection, exercise execution. There's going to be a lot of people when you get into training or while you're training telling you what you should do, because that's just how people are. That's just how people are in gyms. Like, yeah, you should squat. If you want big legs, you should go and squat. Or if you want a big back, you should do deadlifts. Like, they're amazing movements. Do not get me wrong. They are pound for pound awesome movements, but they don't fit for everyone. Not everyone can squat. Not everyone can deadlift. Not everyone can do it safely, and that's key, because they're two movements that if you overload and you don't do right, you're going to hurt yourself big time. So if you don't feel like you're confident in doing them, then don't do them. You don't have to do them. There's enough equipment out there nowadays that you can go and do whatever you want to get big legs. Hack squat, leg press, V squat, pendulum squat, machines that are built, engineered to give you the maximum that you can get out of performing that exercise. You don't have to barbell squat or deadlift. There's chest supported rows, like machine rows. There's all sorts of different things nowadays. I mean, you've got quite a few in here yourselves. Like, even though this is predominantly a powerlifting facility, you've still got some wicked machines that I can see that are gonna eliminate a squat. You got the squat machine, the pendulum squat around there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe you can't deadlift, so you need to rack pull off the rack, pull up a bit higher, eliminate the glute and the hamstring a little bit. So don't ever think that you have to do something. You've got to find what fits you. So mechanics is a big thing. When it comes to a body, everybody has different limb lengths, everybody has different insertion points. So you're gonna get people like myself, my hips are here, I've got really long legs, yeah? So when I free weight squat, it's not necessarily the best movement for me, because I have to get a long way down for me to feel like I'm getting deep enough. And then it puts me in a position where I'm not in a strong position, but I'm always trying to get strong. So what happens? You end up fucking up your squat and fucking up your body because you just want to get better at squats, when they're not even giving you what you really want out of the movement, which is big legs. You end up thinking, I just need to fucking get good at this because he said so. You need to find what works, what gives you the results, what gives you the best bang for your buck, I guess. So that being said, you need to also look at the movement. So, like I said, yeah, find what works for you, find what you feel the most and what you connect with. There also needs to be a differentiation, because you're going to come to a point where you might be trying to feel things that you ain't going to feel, like a rack pull or a deadlift or a barbell squat, even a hack squat, a V squat. You're not going to connect with that muscle like you would a fly, a cable fly. When you do a cable fly, you get the stretch, you get the squeeze, you feel the blood get into the muscle, you feel the volume, you feel the burn. When you do a deadlift, you don't get no burn, you don't get no pump, you don't get no nothing like that. You're fucking ripping that weight off the floor and picking it up. So you need to get the difference. So don't try and feel movements like big, huge compounds and end up cutting back on weight and selling yourself short because you're not feeling it. So you need to know the differences between the exercises. You need to have a little play about it. You need to give them a chance to see what you're going to get out of that movement before you decide, yes, I'm putting that in my plan, or no, I'm not putting in that plan. So these things, like I said earlier, it's about patience. These things do take time. Sometimes you're going to have to take a few months just to maybe find yourself the best program, the best plan. Like I've recently written myself a new one, and I've had to, how many times we had to chop and change exercises. We're running for a few weeks, and we're finding like it's either, nah, I'm not enjoying that, it don't feel right, or I'm getting not too strong, but like I'm putting too much weight on this machine now, and it's getting to the point where it's getting a little bit dangerous, and I'm not really getting anything out of it apart from just trying to lift it. So you gotta find what's gonna work best for you, I guess. Yeah, so that's training, pretty much covered, I guess, with a bit of mindset in there as well. If there's any questions that you want to ask me now, let's ask now, and then we can move on into a little bit more about nutrition and what governs what. Yeah.
Quick question. I know how for myself, there is going to be a time in my life where I hit the brick wall.
Okay.
What is the best advice when you hit the brick wall?
In terms of strength.
In terms of training and getting bigger.
Okay, so I guess what you're trying to say is when you're at a point where you feel like you can't get any bigger and you can't get any stronger, so then you've got to look at what you've been doing to get to that point. So obviously something's got to change, because you're not at your genetic ceiling, you're not maxed out. How old are you?
I'm 21.
Yeah, you got years. Your testosterone is through the roof right now.
Yeah.
This is where you're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. So firstly, I wouldn't even be thinking about it. I wouldn't even be letting it cross my mind, honestly, because all you're doing is putting a kind of negative thought in your mind, like I'm gonna reach a fucking block point soon, or don't think about it. Do you know what I'm saying? So firstly, eliminate that thought of where you're gonna come to a plateau and you're gonna stop improving. Secondly, when you do, eventually, which will be a long time, get to a point where you're not getting stronger and you don't feel like you're improving or getting any better or bigger, then you have to look at all the variables, okay? So, firstly, as I was gonna come into it anyway, nutrition. Why are you not getting any bigger? Do you know why? Because you're not eating enough. And that is the simple fact. Like, that's how simple it is. You're gonna say, nah bro, I fucking eat loads, man. Well, you ain't eating enough. That's it. Do you know why I can confidently tell you that? Because I understand energy balance. The body, right, is governed by that. So what I'm saying is that's the law of thermodynamics, thermogenics. That's the law of putting weight on and losing weight. Eat more, move less. What's gonna happen? You're gonna grow, you're gonna gain. Eat less, move more. What's gonna happen? You're gonna go down, you're gonna lose, right? So when you're at this sticking point, you gotta eat more. And that's it. Simple. Eat more, or chill out and stop moving. Don't go nowhere. Drive to the gym, hit your weight, drive home, just don't move. No, but honestly, it might not be the answer that you were looking for, but that's the basics, bro. That's it. You're gonna have to eat more. You're gonna have to, and then when you do eat more, that's gonna give you the energy, I guess, to train harder, to get stronger. So then they complement each other. So you couldn't get any more weight, and then you started eating more, then your weight started going up, then your weights in the gym started going up. So you just got to keep pushing, keep pushing. You're going to get to a point where, not that you're hitting a plateau in terms of strength and size, but you mentally have had enough. Because you know why? You can't eat no more. It's too hard now. You're eating 7 massive meals a day. You're sick of eating food. That's what's going to prevent you from growing. That's what's going to prevent you from getting bigger. Because you physically don't even like eating anymore. That's what happens to proper people who take this all the way and really fucking push their weight and try and get big. They get sick of eating, they don't even like the sight of food. You can put cakes and their favourite food in front of them and they won't want to eat it because they've had enough of physically ploughing food away all day, every single day in the pursuit of bigger muscles. So it's more so going to be something like that, man. Yeah, anything else?
What's your rest time between sets?
I don't rest. I don't time rest. That's one thing that I really think people kind of cuts people short in terms of progression, because they're trying to. There's the old 45-second rest in between sets is the best way to grow. It's definitely not. Like, you're not rested enough to fucking smash your next lift. How can you go fail on 100 kilo bench press, fail, wait 45 seconds, then go again? What are you gonna get after 45 seconds? You ain't getting shit. Literally, you ain't getting nothing. You need to wait as long as you need to wait. Everybody's gonna be different. I'm not saying wait like 5 minutes. Like, it's not powerlifting, but 2-3 minutes, that's fine. That's fine. Go when you feel strong again.
What about resistance bands? What's their place and when should they be used?
Increasing strength profiles. So there could be an argument that you shouldn't use them until you've completely maxed out whatever you're lifting. But then again, that's an argument because they also do increase the strength profile in a different...
What's strength profile?
Well, a strength profile is, let's say you're on a machine and you're pushing from here, that's the strength profile, okay? So what does a band do? Increase that strength profile because you're putting tension from the bottom to the top throughout the movement. So rather than just moving that weight, you're now putting a resistant band on it, which is increasing the tension from the bottom to the top. So it's making that lift harder, okay? I don't know how into social media you lot are, but now you're seeing there's a lot of people recently using bands to aid their lifts, not make them harder like I just said. So people put them on the back of hack squats. Have you seen that? So that's reverse banded. So what that does, if you imagine it on a hack, you're coming down, it's hacked. So the hack squat goes round the base of the hack squat and round the frame. So it goes down as you go down, and then because the tension's so tight at the bottom because you've just pulled it down, it then aids you in the lift and pulls you out of that hole and gives you that little bit of a break where you're weakest. So people use it to get stronger, and then they'll eventually take the band off and be stronger throughout the whole movement. So yeah, that's pretty much a quick explanation on bands, yeah. Yeah? Moving on? Cool. Okay, so, as I said briefly when the gentleman asked, energy balance, calories in versus calories out. That's how you either lose body fat or you gain size, muscle, body fat, whatever it is that's going to come along with that. So there are so many different methods of dieting that you will all have heard about. We've got if it fits your macros, we've got keto diets, high carb, low carb, we've got low fat, we've got paleo, intermittent fasting, carb cycling, even more. Wow. Some I don't even know what they are. I've heard of them, like 1, 2, 3 diets and all this sort of thing, juice diets, there's all sorts of different things. Ignore it all. They are methods of dieting, but they're not the answer. They're not why you're losing weight. They're just ways of doing things. Why you're losing weight? Let's take it back. Calories in, calories out. If you're consuming more than what you're eating, you're gonna gain. Doesn't matter if you did it in a 6-hour window because you fasted, or you just ate when you woke up. What's the basics? Calories in, calories out, energy balance. Make your decision on what your goal is and then go for it like that. So intermittent fasting, let's say, is quite popular. I'm pretty sure you've all heard of it, yeah? What is that? It's where you cut your eating window down. So the only time I would ever do that personally is if I was on a diet and I was hungry as fuck. Because I don't know about you lot, but for me, I'm easy getting up and not eating for the first few hours of my day. That's fine. What I can't do is, say, eat for a couple of meals and then not eat for a few hours. That's the hard part. But getting up and not eating in the morning's easy, because I just haven't really got much of an appetite and I can just go without food for a good few hours. So what's that doing? If I wake up at 8 AM and I don't eat until 12, but then I sleep at 10, that's a 10 hour window, right? To get my food in, instead of plus 3-4 hours. So if you start eating at 8 a.m. but you go to sleep at 10 a.m., you've got a longer time to get a small amount of food in, which is going to leave you hungry. So that's all it is. All it is a method. It's not the answer. It's not, people think that they're the answers. Paleo, if it fits your macros, this, that. No, the answer is how much in versus how much out. So just remember that, because it's so basic. It's so basic, but it's overcomplicated a lot by people that go out there and get kind of married to these methods and tell you that's how you should do it. I swear by if it fits your macros, or I swear by intermittent fasting. No, you swear by calories in versus calories out. That's just the way that you've got around it and did it. But you don't understand that, so you're telling everyone this is the way you did it. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, just remember that, it's all about that. The different methods that like keto. Keto diet's high fat, 0 carbs, and low protein. So that's another way of doing it. And the difference with keto, the only difference with keto is you put your body into ketosis, where your body starts using fat for fuel. So you can lose fat really quickly, but at the end of the day, you still have to be in a deficit, energy deficit. You still have to eat less than what you're doing. So that's probably the only one with a little bit of a different variable to it. All the others are just basic. So yeah, that's a few different ways of dieting. And then I want to talk about nutritional setups. So when you're setting your own calories for what you are trying to achieve, what your goal is, the best way of doing it, and the only real true way of doing it accurately, is by calculating what you're eating now. So you'll see many calorie calculators on the internet. So they'll say put your body weight in, put this in, your age in, your height in, and then it'll just chuck a number at you on what you should be eating. But that's irrelevant, because it doesn't matter, because what matters is why you look the way you look now. Why do you look the way you look now? Because of what you've been eating and how you've been training.
But when you speak to the average Joe, like for me, for instance, if I have like an online client that will come to me and want a plan, they don't know what they eat. They eat differently every day.
Yeah, but that's why you get a food diary.
Calories.
Food diary.
Right, okay.
Say, give me a food diary.
Yeah.
Make them write everything down and tell them, don't think, oh shit, I'm doing a food diary, I'm gonna fucking eat chicken and vegetables all day. Be completely honest. Say, don't overthink it. Just keep a little notepad or your phone on you, and whatever you eat, fucking write it down. Because they might not eat the same every day, but overall, it's gonna be similar to what they're eating, and you can only go off of that. So you get that calorie amount and you calculate whatever they've eaten, then you know that's the start. That's why they are where they are. If they want to drop their body fat, then what do? You drop their calories, or you put some cardio in. It is pretty simple when it comes down to the basics, okay? So remember that, that's key. If you want to change the way you look, be honest with yourself and calculate what it is that you're consuming. And then you can make your next change, your next judgment based on your overall goal. So let's say your goal is to gain some weight for a change, yeah? You want to gain some weight, you're looking at your calories, your body weight's not really moving at all. That means you're hitting a maintenance level of calories. So what you're eating and the output that you're doing, the movement, the training, is keeping you where you are. You're maintaining, you're just keeping everything the same. So if you want to gain, you've got to eat more. Simple as that. Put more food in. Put your food in 200 increments, calorie increments. That way you know each time, okay, I put 200 calories in, and now 1 week later I weigh this. So it's all about just tracking, logging, keeping an eye out, making sure you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, and making sure that it's always in pursuit of that goal. Always in pursuit of the goal. Everything has to be, I guess, sort of engineered towards that, because otherwise why are you doing it? Everybody's got to have goals, everybody's got to have something that they're striving for or trying to achieve. Okay, so then after that, you go into macros. So your macros, your 3 primary macros are carbohydrates, protein, and fats. So we've got protein, which is what the body is literally made up of. Your muscles are made of proteins, amino acids. So the first step when setting up your diet would be to set your protein goal. So your protein goal is something that I wouldn't ever change. It would stay where it's at, unless you're in an extreme case where you might have to pull some calories from there. But ideally you want that to stay where it's at, because that's the only kind of calculation that is solid when it comes to whatever it is that you're after. So your maintenance, 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. So that's the minimum that you want. You never want to go less than that because you don't want to lose muscle. So maintenance needs to be there even if you're trying to lose body fat. That's not the macro that you want to be affecting, because you need to withhold all your muscle. So 1 gram per kilogram of body weight for maintenance, and for growing, between 2 and 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. So if you're trying to get bigger, set it, leave it. If you're trying to drop body fat, set it, leave it, yeah? That's the one that I wouldn't really touch unless you really, really had to. But anyway, we move on, carbs and then fats, okay? So you can base these on your preference, on what you like eating and what you feel best on. Because fats can be used for an energy source, like I said, the keto diet, but the body's preferred energy source is a carbohydrate. So I would always favor higher carbs and lower fats when I will be prescribing a diet to somebody. But again, if you're doing your own, you can kind of play with it yourself and do what it is that you enjoy doing. Because at the end of the day, some people, like myself included, I quite like a moderately fat diet in terms of, so you got to think about like salmon. Do you like salmon? I love salmon. Avocado, I love avocado. Nuts and like almond butters and peanut butters and all that sort of stuff, I love all that. So to be able to put that in your diet, fats are high in calories, because fats are 9 calories per 1 gram of fat, whereas protein and carbs are 4. So they're going to take up a lot of calories if you start putting loads of them in. But if you really like them, then you're going to have to put them in. It's up to you. Do you know what I'm saying? So just make sure that you're wary of that and you don't end up with just a super high fat diet and you're just basically on keto. So yeah, think about it, think about what you enjoy and think about how you perform best. Really, the body performs best, meant to perform best, higher carbohydrates, because they are the body's preferred energy source. So it will draw on the glycogen stores before anything else. So if you're going to hit the gym and you've just had a bowl of rice before, that's what you're going to use while you're training, because that's going to go fill your energy stores, glycogen stores, and that's what we're going to use, and that's what you're going to feel when you're pumped and everything else. Also, carbohydrates post-workout to then replenish. You think about it, you're full of glycogen from your rice, you train, you deplete it, you leave, you've not got any glycogen, you eat rice again, bang, comes in, repairs, replenishes, rest, recover, grow. So yeah, macros, they're the ones that I'd play about with, those two, based on your performance and your preference.
What about those guys that like to weigh their food, or is that something?
Well, I mean, this is the thing.
Just eat.
It's all goal dependent. So this is the thing. That it's always, most of the questions that you're going to ask me are going to come back to this. It's all about your goals. Do you want to get on stage? Do you want to do a photo shoot? Or do you just want to drop a bit of body fat? How particular do you want to be? And how, I guess, good do you want to look? If you want to take it all the way, you're going to have to be weighing your food. You're going to have to be tracking everything. Because I'm telling you now to work out your calories and work out your protein. If you don't track your food, how can you work anything out?
Yeah, correct.
If you're not tracking the calories that you're consuming, what was the point in doing all the fucking maths in the first place? It made no sense. Do you know what I'm saying? So you need to be tracking everything that you're eating if you're going to go down that route. If you're just, I'm a little bit overweight, I'm just chilling, I'm not really that bothered, then just fucking be a little bit smarter. Maybe don't have a chocolate bar every day. Maybe don't have a packet of crisps every day. Just stopping that alone is going to see a difference. Do you know what I'm saying? So there are different ways of doing this, but I'm talking to you guys a little bit more about the serious side and the more kind of particular side of things, rather than just, yeah, fucking Doreen down the road wants to drop a bit of body fat, so stop eating biscuits with your tea every day. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, tracking's key, definitely. Methods of tracking. Everybody heard about MyFitnessPal? Yeah? No? Yeah, so MyFitnessPal is used widely now. It's an app. People input things on that app, foods, items. You can even just scan a barcode and it will come up with the calories, the macro breakdown and everything. And that's one way of tracking. So if you aren't completely serious about your goals and getting on stage, remember I said if it fits your macros, so your macros are set, your calories are set, you can chop and change with the foods that you want to eat every day if you want. But make sure you're tracking it on that app so you're staying within those macros and those calories. So that's one way of doing things. But yeah, tracking is, in my opinion, key to getting the
what
optimal
about
shape.
sort of like tracking activity levels, because we can measure the sort of like incoming calories, but it might be harder to track your
A lot harder. The only real way of measuring your calories that you're burning is by wearing a heart rate monitor. And who's going to do that all day, every day? It's just something like, there are ways of tracking your output. Like, if you're going to do cardio, people like to do cardio, but they like to track how many calories they're burning on that cardio machine. In my opinion, I don't think that's the best way of doing things, because who says that the machine's correct? What if you use a different machine one day to another day?
Consistency, I think, no?
Sorry?
I think it keeps that consistency though when you track calories and stuff on a machine.
Oh yeah, but
that just keeps.
what if you ain't got that machine? What if it's a different brand of machine?
Yeah.
They're all different, and then it eliminates that consistency.
Yeah.
Time is consistent. Yeah. Time spent is consistent. Calories on a machine aren't.
Yeah.
It's the same as like where you're measuring your heart rate on a machine. You do it on one, it'll say one thing. You do it on the other, it'll say something else. These things are too loose to track, to keep sort of stringent on. So when it comes to me, my clients and myself in cardio, it's time. Heart rate, if you can track your heart rate with a good, let's say an iWatch, a newer one, or I don't like Fitbits, I think they're way off, so I don't even bother looking at them.
You woke up, you've like, done how many steps?
Yeah, people are like, oh, I've done 40,000 steps today, and I'm like, how the fuck you done that? I look at mine, I've done 3,000. I'm like,
I used to wake up in the morning and see loads of steps.
yeah, see, I've never had one, but I just hear these random numbers and I compare to my iWatch and I'm like, either I ain't doing shit or that's fucking wrong. So yeah, when it comes down to it, I think just time's something that you can't really change, do you know what I'm saying? So providing that you can consistently give the same sort of effort in that cardio session, then you're going to be there or thereabouts.
That was more what I was getting at with the calories side of things, so you know you're putting in burning that many calories.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. If you can use the same machine every single day,
well, I do, so
then cool, then fair enough, but I know it's not always possible. I know some machines don't always have the same machines. Someone might be on your machine that one day, do you know what I mean? And then what you're going to do, sit and wait or use a different machine? And for me, that'd just fuck my head up too much, man. So for me, I just like to keep the time at the same level and make sure that I'm giving it a good level of output when I'm performing it. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, that's an easier way of trying to control it and not lose your shit with it, because it can get to that point where you're like, fucking hell, what am I going to do? Someone's on my machine.
I probably do that as well.
Yeah, we're sitting there waiting for it. Yeah, so that's macros. So carbs are the preferred energy source. Fats are essential for hormone regulation. Then I'm going to come on to a few things about myths when it comes to dieting. So like, don't eat after 6 p.m, carbs before bed are bad, high protein diets can affect your kidneys, creatine can make you hold water. Like all these things are bullshit. So completely dispel those rumors, right? Especially creatine monohydrate. I feel like it's the best, most researched supplement on the market today. It holds water intracellular, so that's in the muscle cell, not outside. So when you remove that creatine, you're only going to look worse, and you're only going to perform worse. Keep it in always throughout. Don't think that dropping it is going to make you look tighter or leaner or anything, because it really won't.
Is that including non-training days as well, or is it?
I take it only on training days.
Yeah, makes sense.
But there won't be no harm taking it.
And you said earlier when I spoke to you, you could mix that with your glutamine and...
You can mix it with anything that you want, and there's no time that you need to have it. You don't have to have it post-workout, intra-workout, with your breakfast. Whenever it suits your day, get it in. 5 grams minimum, you're nice. Creatine monohydrate, stick with that because that's the most researched one. There are other ones like HCl, there's a few in there. Is it nitrate? What's the other one? Creatine. It's creatine HCl, creatine monohydrate, Crealkaline, isn't it? Yeah. There's quite a few, but they've not had the research that monohydrate has. Monohydrate is the one that is known to work, so just stick with that, and it's cheap, accessible, easy to consume. Mix it, like you said, mix it with anything, like you said. So
yeah. So during your workout, you
can have it in that. I always have mine post-workout in a shake. If you can't taste it, it just goes down easy. But again, have it whenever it suits you. Do you
have whey, or do you have the actual protein shake before your training during your
post-workout? Post-workout, I always have a shake. As soon as I finished with creatine in it.
Yeah, straight after, yeah?
Yeah, just protein. But that's not me telling you that that's what you have to do.
Yeah,
that's the optimal way to grow, that's just my preference. I like having a shake. Sorry?
Keeps it consistent for you as well.
Yeah. It's just, you set your routines, like I was saying earlier. Like, that's part of my routine. As soon as I finish training, I have my shake. I just feel good doing it like that.
Change it, you can forget. Can't you?
Yeah, you can forget stuff, man. You forget a lot of basic shit sometimes, man. And that's just comes with everyday life. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm of that person that I need to make things, like I was saying, like rigid and routine, and I need to get things right, because I do forget stuff if they're not like that. Like, I need to have some like visual stuff in front of me. Like, let's say I've got to take this tablet tomorrow, I need to leave it on the kitchen side so I see it and I'm like, oh shit, I need to take that. Otherwise I won't take it. Like, you've got to just kind of figure out, like, my wife will move it though. You know, that's why I fucking forgot to take that. She moved it. Yeah, but no, find what works for you. Find something that's going to fit with your patterns and your lifestyles and the way that you are. And then, obviously, success is going to come a lot easier because you're not forcing things. You're doing what's kind of appeals to you and just complements you, rather than doing shit that essentially doesn't complement anything because it's hard and it's not nice and you're getting in a fucking diet and you're struggling and you're hungry, so everything else around that needs to be as easy as it can be, really. That's why I think, going back to a bit of a mindset kind of thing and lifestyle, it's like if you're in an unsupportive environment and you're trying to achieve these big goals that I'm talking about, you're going to find it hard. You need to get them people around you on board, your wife, whoever it is, if you've got a husband, or if you, I don't know, if you live with a shared house or friends, you can't have people trying to fuck your shit up. Do you know what I mean? Even if they're not trying to fuck it up purposely, like, if they're not supportive, it's gonna fucking affect you because you're living in that environment. That's where
family, isn't it? A lot of it's
family. I hear a lot of that. Yeah, like, I've been fortunate enough to never have any of my family go against what I want to do or not support me. They've always been really, really supportive of what even when they don't really believe in it, because they don't. Like, whose mum wants their son or daughter to be fucking starving and look like a crackhead. No one. Do you know what I'm saying? They don't want that. They hate that. It hurts them. They're like, why don't you eat? Oh, it's healthy. I promise, I didn't put any oil in it. Like, you don't understand. You don't understand.
Just eat the sandwich, you run out.
Yeah. It's clean. But yeah, so you got to have that environment needs to be, even if they're not fucking pushing you and supporting you all the way, they need to be at least accepting of what you're doing, and they know you don't want them to be putting fucking bumps in the road, in an already bumpy road. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's really, really gonna help you if you can get them on board before you start. So yeah, like I said, like that's something that's really gonna help. And I should have mentioned this earlier, to be honest, but about dieting and about competing and about how it can have a really, really negative mental effect on you. So I really feel like I think it's my responsibility to tell you this also, because this might sound extreme to some of you, but I've seen some really extreme cases where people have dieted to the point where they've got on stage and they've got absolutely shredded, they look insane. But with that comes obviously huge restrictions on food, huge restrictions on drinks, huge restrictions on a lot of things. And what happens when they finish competing? They lose their fucking mind because they want to do everything that they haven't been able to do for the last 3, 4, 5 months. And they're trying to fucking fit it in 1 week. I'm telling you, I've been there. I'm only speaking from experience to you people. I can't sit here and lie or make things up and try and talk about shit I don't know about, else you find me out. I'm talking about serious times that I've had where I want to eat everything in 1 day. I swear to God, the first cheat meal I ever had, I got in the car and I went to maybe 5 or 6 fast food places, one after the other. I didn't eat and then go to the next one. I went McDonald's, got a burger because I wanted a McDonald's burger. Then I went Burger King because I wanted a Burger King. Then I went KFC because I wanted some KFC. Then I went to the kebab shop because I wanted this. Then I went to the dessert shop. Then I went Tesco because I wanted Oreos. Then I went, and literally, I'm no joke, you're pigging out like a fucking animal, like an animal. You can't eat all of it, so you just have a bit of it, bit of everything. Then you're there with a load of food wasted, you feel like shit, your stomach is fucked because you've restricted it for so long, yeah, that now you've just filled it with all this shit that it doesn't want, processed food, dairy that you've not been having. Your body's like, what the? I've just been eating chicken and vegetables and potatoes and rice for so long. I'm clean, and now you're just throwing all this in. You, without sounding too vulgar, but you're gonna have the shits. You're gonna be farting all over the place. You're gonna stink. Your missus is gonna hate you. I'm telling you now. And this is experience talking, serious. And even now, when I've done it for so long, I still get to them points where I'm like, I can't wait to fucking eat everything. Do you know what I mean? But the difference now is, it doesn't go past 1 meal or a day. Whereas then it would be like, fucking diet's finished, show's finished, I'm fucking eating everything this week. 1 week of that and you're fucked. You're back to square one 15 weeks ago. And that is how extreme it is. All that hard work, dropping body fat takes time. Gaining body fat takes fucking minutes, man. Honestly. And it is a scary thought because do you know what happens? You do that, it's all fun, you're eating, you're fucking pigging out. Day, then you're like, shit, I'm fucking fat, I look like shit. And then what? Right, diet again. Need to diet again to get this back off. Get it back off, then what happens? You go again. The vicious circle repeats itself. And every single time that you're doing that cutback and that forward back gain, all you're doing is compromising your muscle, fucking your head up, ruining your eating habits, and making a psychological problem.
It's an eating disorder, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it is, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be controlled, it can be improved, you can get over it, but it is an eating disorder, and it needs to be spoke about because, like, you just can't. you can't really comment on it until you've seen it happen. Do you know what I mean? And I've seen it happen so many times to other people, and I've seen its effects with friends now, and they don't even compete anymore, but they still like it. They still diet just so they can go and eat a fuckload of fucking food in one night. Like, there's nothing wrong with having a meal off your plan once a week, twice a week, but that's a meal. It's not a fucking 6-hour fucking eating mission. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Binging away.
Like it's hard, bro. It's hard because what I'm saying is, yeah, there's nothing wrong with enjoying food. There's nothing wrong with there's nothing even wrong with food being your vice. Like, some people like drinking, some people like drugs, some people like food. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, especially Muslims. They don't drink, they shouldn't drink, they shouldn't take drugs, yeah? So what have you got left that's fun, really fun, you know what I mean? Like, going out and having a nice meal, innit? Yeah. Going out and having a proper fucking nice meal, and then a big dessert after. So you already like it. So when you're restricting yourself from it, it creates this massive fucking problem, because you just want that. You go one day clean, one day shit. One day clean, one day shit. You justify doing stuff so you can eat this. Like, oh, fucking hell, I better do some extra cardio tomorrow. I've got to have a fucking burger tonight. Do you know what I mean? But you'll never outweigh the diet. You'll never outwork a bad diet. Because like I said to you, it takes fucking months to drop the body fat, but minutes to gain it. How long? Where's cardio guy who does the same machine? Has he gone, yeah? He will know, yeah? Because he does a calorie count for his cardio, okay? Roughly an hour's cardio, 60 minutes, on most machines will get you about 600 calories burnt, yeah? Now think about food, right? Let's say, I don't know, a Krispy Kreme donut. Everyone likes a donut, surely, yeah? They're between 300 and 400 calories a donut, right? Some of them are more, aren't they, the filled ones? Yeah, so like 400 or 500. So you think about that. That's 1 hour for one donut. 1 hour. Is it worth it? 1 whole hour is gonna get, yeah.
For me, I'm hungry.
Yeah, but like, the thing is, a lot of people, their metabolisms can get away with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can maintain the way you look if you train hard and you move a lot and you eat a donut here and there. But you're not gonna fucking maintain shit if you're eating 12 donuts. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? But you got to think about it like this. It's not just the donut. Nobody's gonna just go, yeah, fucking hell, I'm just gonna go and have a donut. No, you're gonna go and have a burger, fries, then a donut, then some ice cream, and then if you're hungry again later on, you might have some popcorn or something else before you go to bed. Then you've eaten fucking 3,000 calories. So that hour ain't gonna do shit.
That's how much that is.
Hey, that's what I mean.
You're talking to me, aren't you?
So that means you have to up the cardio. So you go for about 3 hours with the cardio then?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
You're gonna not eat that shit.
And not even that. That won't even cover it though. That won't even cover it. That's only going to be 1,800 calories. Yeah, that's crazy. Do you know what I mean? So one night of eating is going to take you a month to get rid of. Right. So just the understanding is what you all need. I mean, if you understand it and you know it and you're going to go and do it, then fair enough. That's your fault. You did it. You know what I'm saying? That's your problem to deal with. But I'm going to try and educate you here now, so you don't get in the rut. Like, I'm not like Omar, yeah. He's already fucking ready to eat, ain't you? Telling me I can't wait. I'm gonna have a photo shoot 2 days after, so I don't lose my mind on the food. Because he already knows he's gonna lose his mind on the food. Because he's already thinking and idolising and fucking probably going through Instagram food pages and like, oh, look at that burger. Yeah, and what are you doing? You're putting the food up there on the pedestal. So what's the goal now? Fuck the competition, that was the goal, but now it's, can't wait for that to be done so I can go and eat that. Do you know, that's what it turns into, do you know what I'm saying? And that's where you have to switch switch it back and understand that that food ain't going nowhere. And pigging out like that ain't gonna help you. It's gonna satisfy you for fucking 5 minutes. And then you're gonna regret it. So, what I'm saying is, like you, Omar, I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to do it. I want you to do it. I don't want you to take it to the extreme, but I want you to enjoy some food after your competition. You deserve it. Of course you deserve it. You know what I mean? You worked hard, you dropped a lot of fat, you restricted your diet, you deserve it. But don't let it carry on to the point where it's going to fuck you over. Because all you're going to do is come back to this and think, fucking hell.
And it's that thing, it's like building up that food to be something that's so amazing.
They put it, you put it on a pedestal. It's like, wow.
It's just food. It's always
that
there.
burger looks amazing. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it recently. What did I say to you, Dave? Don't know what's wrong with me. I just fucking really want a burger. Leon keeps, my mate Leon, he's a freak. He's obsessive over burgers. So he'll go travel the country for these big stack burgers and like puts them on his Instagram. So I'm always seeing them.
Sound like man of the food?
So it's, that's what he's like. So it's in my head and I'm already thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? But I know that when to curb it. So I know I can have that big fuck off burger. But the next day it will be back to my diet because I know if I do it again, I'm gonna get fat. So it's just understanding, do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, sorry I went into one a little bit there, but I do feel that this needs to be known by people, especially when Omar's close to his show and...
That's where a lot of people fail, isn't it? It's food.
Yeah.
People always train, but it's food.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Because it's just impossible to counteract. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've tried, trust me. I have fucking tried. I'm talking, I woke up in the morning, used to do hit sprints, like proper hardcore fucking hit sprints. Then I'd do circuits, kettlebell swings, ball slams, battle ropes, box jumps. Then I'd do like 45 to an hour list, low intensity cardio. Then later on I'd go and hit a massive weight session and make sure I'm doing all the compounds to get as many calories burnt as I can. Because all I'm thinking about is what I'm about to eat and trying to counteract it. And you never win. You never ever win. You might be able to control it slightly and not get massively fat, but what happens after fucking a few days of doing that? You're fucked. So then what you're gonna do? You can't be arsed, you ain't got the energy to do all that training anymore. So you do get fat because you ain't gonna not eat anything. So it's always a loser's game. So you just gotta be strong and try and control that. Yeah, so that's about it for the food, I think. Unless, is there any questions?
How is it on show day?
How is it? In terms of, okay, so obviously everybody's gonna have different experiences on their show days, depending on how they are as a person, how their mindset is going into that show, how they look, are they confident in how they look, has their prep been successful? For me, when it comes to show day, I don't feel much, like the work's done kind of thing, you know what I mean? So like for me, I kind of switch off. I'm really kind of cool and calm, whereas in general I'm not really very cool and calm. So it's one of those situations where your performance is in your hands. What you're going to do on that stage, on that day, on that night is down to you and how you hold yourself. But apart from that, it's out of your hands. So you stressing and trying to fucking make it a big deal, I guess, is only going to hurt you if it doesn't go your way. So you've got to be prepared for the worst outcome and hope for the best. You've got to be confident. You've got to believe you're going to do well. Otherwise, what's the point in doing it? What's the point? Do you know what I'm saying? If you don't believe, you ain't gonna. It's going to show. They're going to see that on stage that you don't have any confidence in yourself. So you have to be confident, but at the same time, you've got to detach yourself from wanting and fucking hoping that result's going to come, because at the end of the day, it's out of your hands, man. You can only do what you can do on that day, on that stage, and previous to that, you had to have nailed your diet, nailed your training, know that you haven't fucking skipped a beat. If you look back on that prep and you're like, I shouldn't have ate that McDonald's that my coach didn't know about, and then you get on stage and you don't do well, it might not be the McDonald's, but if you don't do well, you're going to be thinking about that McDonald's. Do you know what I'm saying? So eliminate all those things that could potentially fuck your brain up. Do you know what I'm saying? Do everything that you're meant to do, and then you can rest easy. You know you've done all that you can do. I hold my hands up, I did everything. Every single thing I was told to do. So what happens here today is them judges are going to decide, and that's their opinion, okay? Even on the way down here, I was talking to Dave about how confident you should be as a competitor, okay? So you should be so confident that obviously you can't be confident if you haven't done everything that you're meant to do. So they're the first things. Let's get them out of the way. You do everything that you're meant to do. You should be confident in yourself. You should be confident that you can win this competition and that you're good enough to win this competition. Even to the point of, if you don't win that competition, you know what? Them judges were wrong. I still believe I should have won that competition. Don't be arrogant. Don't start shouting on social media saying the judges were wrong, because you just look like a sore loser. But inside, think to yourself, they made a mistake that day. People make mistakes. They made a mistake. I should have won that. I'm going to win the next one. Don't let it knock your confidence to the point where you're like, fuck, I'm not good enough. They said I'm not good enough, so that's it. I'm never going to do this again. Be confident, believe in yourself. If you've done everything that you're meant to do, then why shouldn't you be confident? You should be looking the best you've ever looked in your whole entire life. That in itself is an achievement. That in itself is something to be proud of. So just on the day, you've got to enjoy it, because at the end of the day, what else are you doing it for? You're doing it for that stage time. You're not doing it for the fucking plastic trophy that costs £5. That's bullshit. It's about the journey. It's about completing what 95% of this fucking nation cannot do. They can't do it. They might think they can do it and they might try and do it, but they can't. Why is bodybuilding so kind of small? Like, yeah, of course there's like the drugs aspect and everything else that people might not want to take, but then there's natural shows, tested shows. Why? It's because it's hard, because it's extreme. It's not easy to get in shape like that. It's not easy to hold condition like that. When you get that lean, yeah, that you ain't even got fucking body fat anywhere. Like people, I've heard stories of people getting so lean that it hurts to walk because the body fat on the pads of their feet are gone. Like, it's extreme. Like, I get shredded, but I'm men's physique, so I don't need to be shredded where my glutes are striated and, do you know what I mean? Like bodybuilders, top level bodybuilders, not the amateurs that you see around here, they need to be to that level of conditioning, and that is beyond extreme. Like, they're dead, they're fucked every day, they can't even think straight, they can't even talk straight. Do you know what I'm saying? So providing you've done everything in your power, enjoy that day, smile and have fun, because you're not going to feel like shit when you're on stage, because you've been carbing up for 2 days, you've been eating a load of food, you've been filling your glycogen stores, your brain's now revitalized because it's getting what it hasn't had for a while, your mood's uplifted because your hormones are changing because of the food that's coming in. So like, you should generally be in a happy mood if, like I said, you've done everything that you're meant to do and you look the way you want to look. So that time there is the time for you to have fun. That time there is for you to showcase what you've done. Show everyone, look at me, I fucking bust my ass for the last 3 months and this is what I've achieved. Smile and strut your stuff, man. That's why I'm the way I am on the day, because it's like, I've done everything. I know I've done everything. I'm confident I've done everything. Don't get me wrong, you're still gonna get a bit emotional if you don't win. So that's just human nature. You've pushed yourself hard for a long time. But yeah, as long as you understand that it's only based on some dude's opinion, then who's to say on another day you won't win? Who's to say a different judge would say that you did win? So you can't shut it down and say that's it if you don't. So just enjoy the experience. Right. So we spoke about training, we spoke about nutrition, we spoke about mindset, consistency, what it takes. So now we're going to touch on the bit of a taboo subject, obviously drugs, PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, and well, not just in my opinion, this should always be the last part of the puzzle. This is not something that's gonna build your physique. This is only something that's gonna enhance and improve and kind of take your physique maybe to the little bit jump up to the next level in terms of conditioning, or adding a bit more size when it comes to being in a calorie surplus and trying to gain some body weight. So in my opinion, it should always be the last thing that anybody should think about. That's why I've structured the talk the way I have today, because mindset, key, first thing. If you're not focused and you're not driven and you're not goal orientated, then forget about it. That's the first thing that you need, okay? Secondly, training, food, hand in hand, they go together. You need to know what you're consuming and you need to be busting your ass in the gym. Once you get those three things nailed down and you've worked your natural potential to its maximum, then maybe look into PEDs, drugs, steroids. But why do I say maybe? Because what's the goal? Again, we go back to the goal. Is your goal a goal that requires you to take performance enhancing drugs? Maybe, maybe not, right? So, have you maxed your natural potential? Are you at the upper limit of everything that you can achieve in terms of how old are you? Is your natural testosterone starting to decline? Are you eating as much as you can eat, training as hard as you can train, and still nothing's happening? Then maybe start looking into it. But again, it's about the goal. So, in my opinion, what determines whether you should go down that route or not is competitive sports. And I'm talking elite level, top level competitive sports. If you're trying to turn, like I am, an IFBB pro, so that's the elite of bodybuilders. That's the only way to go to compete at Mr. Olympia. That's the biggest bodybuilding show in the world by none. No one's even close, yeah? So in my opinion, I think that's a good enough reason for me to take myself down that route and start trying and taking things that are gonna help me to get to where I need to get to. If your goal isn't that big and it's not that important in terms of the stature, then why would you potentially risk your health just to look good? This is the problem with today's generation, is that people are taking harsh substances just to look good, like for themselves, for a holiday. Potentially risking their health long term, seriously, for what? Because they're vain? Like, that doesn't make sense, come on. Like, if I was not to do what I'm gonna do, then I wouldn't touch it. And I promise you that. I wouldn't touch it. Obviously, I'm a little bit more educated, so I know why I would and why I wouldn't. But you don't need to be that educated. You just need to know that the health implications are fucking massive, potentially. Everybody's different, of course. So everybody's body will react differently. How they respond to certain drugs, how their health markers are affected by certain drugs will be different person to person. I mean, in my experience, I know of people that they're like fucking bulletproof, man. Like resilient bodies. They take whatever they want to take and they get their bloods done and they check their health markers and they're barely even out. Whereas somebody else will take a minimal amount and everything's fucked. So you just don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like you're playing with fire because there's no test that can tell you what it's going to do to you until you do it. Do you know what I mean? There's no test that's going to tell you what it's going to do to your heart, your kidneys, your liver, until you've done it and then you get a test done. Unless you've got a history of organ issues, then you might be quite inclined to maybe say, you know what, it's not even worth it because of this and that. But if you haven't, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get issues. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get some big red flags when it comes to taking it. So it's a risk in itself. Even if you are the most careful person when it comes to taking your health supplements alongside, even if you are getting your bloods done every 3 months, every 8 weeks, checking up on how your health markers are looking. Because like I said, there's no test. You've got to find out by doing it. And by then it might even be too late. So unless the goal is justifiable, then what's the point, man? Like, you need to, like I said, maximize your natural potential. And I feel like a lot of people don't maximize their potential because they don't think that they can go any further. They feel like they're at their max, or they just think they're at their max. These are people who are like 25 years old, 21, 19, 18. Like, they're just banging fucking all sorts of steroids without even fucking thinking about it. Like, these people don't even know about blood tests, let alone knowing about them and not taking them. They don't even know they could get a blood test. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just pure ignorance, and it's too. I think the problem is today's society is obviously massively kind of dictated by social media. So what the people see on social media, they want in their lives, and there are a lot of materialistic people, and materialistic isn't just cars and clothes. Materialistic, if you think about it, is your body, it's your physique, it's the way you look. They're flaunted all over Instagram, so people want that. People don't only want fucking Louboutins and fucking Gucci belts. People want to look fucking in sick shape. And they're either impatient and they don't want to put the years in to get there, or they're just uneducated and they don't really care or know about it. So like, this is something that if you're sitting here now thinking about potentially taking performance enhancing drugs to improve your physique, stop and think about why you're thinking about it, and think about the goal. Think about, is it worth risking your health for it? Now, I don't want to scare everyone into thinking that they should never ever take drugs, because I think that drugs taken properly, safely, and in moderation can be beneficial and not hugely damaging, providing you do the right, you take the right precautions alongside. But again, it's all about the goal. So what I'm trying to say there is, because someone like say like myself will take some sort of performance enhancing drugs to get towards my goal, yeah, I will take every single health supplement that I can take to try and make the unhealthy thing that I'm doing, taking them drugs, as healthy as I can make it, by counteracting whatever I can just to make my body and myself feel as though it's kind of managing a bad situation as best as it can, yeah? So it's not healthy, but I'm doing it in pursuit of the goal, and I'm doing it as healthy as I can make it. So what you've got to look at it is like, there's a lot of unhealthy things that people do, but they get on with their lives and they're still okay. A lot of people drink every single day and they're fine. People smoke every single day and they're fine. People don't judge these people. But you're getting judged if you're taking steroids. Why? Any reason why? I don't know why. People look at it in a different manner, I guess. People think, oh yeah, it's okay to smoke 50 fags a day, but you can't take steroids. Why? Do you know what I mean? Everything has those elements there. They're both bad. They're both as bad as each other. But one's more frowned upon on the other. In my opinion, smoking's stupid, like smoking cigarettes especially. You're not getting anything out of that. What are you getting out of that apart from fucking your lungs up, fucking your heart up? Nothing. At least when you're taking steroids, if you're doing it properly and you're doing it safely, you're gonna get some benefits out of it. You're gonna get stronger, you're gonna look better. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, there could be health implications, but again, you might not get the health implications. You might be one of them people that's very resilient, especially if you're going to take your health supplements alongside it. So this is something that has to be a very, very, very thought through decision. And I really believe that you have to do a fucking ton of research on everything, on all of the health implications that could potentially happen, the drugs that you're potentially thinking about taking, and why you're going to be taking them. So that being said, less is always more. When it comes to drugs, when it comes to steroids, you should always be looking to take the minimal amount, because it's not like more is better. It doesn't work like that. It really, really doesn't. If you've never taken anything before, you literally want to take the most basic drug, which is testosterone, on its own. It's usually measured in milligrams per milliliter, which is 250 milligrams per mil. You want to be taking 250 milligrams a week, which will put you in a super physiological state, so which will mean that your testosterone is going to be a lot higher than the average male, which will then increase your ability to gain muscle. I don't know if you heard of TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. So when you get to a certain age, your testosterone levels will drop, and you might be inclined to go to the doctor to try and fix this, because if your testosterone drops, you are instantly not going to feel very well in terms of your mood. You won't have a libido, you won't be feeling very strong or very aggressive, you won't have much drive, you won't be feeling what a man feels, let's put it that way, yeah? So a doctor will prescribe TRT at around 125 milligrams per 7 to 10 days. So you're only really doubling that up at 250 milligrams. So if you think about it, TRT is testosterone replacement. So that's trying to mimic what you would be producing as a normal male. So what you're going to do is just then double that up to 250, and that's going to be all you're going to need, because your body's just going to fucking blow up, because it's never ever had anything like that in it before, and it's just going to get so much out of so little. So one thing you really need to realize when it comes down to this is keep it simple, do all of your precautions that you need to take. So there's a lot of good, very, very, very good health supplements out on the market now that can combat a lot of the issues that you potentially would get while being on a steroid cycle. And so you take them alongside, you make sure that you're getting your bloods done mid-cycle and when you finish your cycle. That way you can tell midway through whether the health markers that you're looking at are kind of in a position where, okay, it's cool, I can carry on taking this, or it's like, shit, I better fucking pack this in because they're getting too out of range, and that's going to potentially cause me issues later on down the line. One way of doing this is obviously, like I said, getting your bloods done. The doc's not here yet. I did plan on bringing him into this conversation a little bit because he runs his own private clinic, which is called Transform Now. And they've been a huge, huge help to me over my bodybuilding journey over the last 2 years. And I think they've helped Mo quite a lot as well. Basically, Doc's got a great little facility where you go down, there's a nurse, and she comes, takes your blood for you, so it's kind of stress-free. They send it off. Within 2 to 3 days, you're getting your results. You go back to see the doc and you discuss every single marker with you, and he will tell you, he's more educated in this than I am. I'm a trainer, I'm a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor. But I have knowledge about it because I've researched it, I've got life experience in it, and I do know quite a lot about it. But like I said, Doc's more the man to talk about when it comes to health markers, and he will advise and tell you what you should do next based on that drug test. So that's just like a a form that you're going to get, like a report, I guess, on your body. So it's going to tell you, like an MOT, isn't it? It's like a service. Like you're going to get. You've been taking whatever you've been taking, so you need to know what's going on. It's like you've been running your car for 3 months and you're going to go and get it serviced. And then when they're servicing it, they're going to see if there's anything wrong with it. So that's pretty much what it's like. You're going to have a checkup, you're going to check in everything's okay, everything's where it's meant to be. If it is, crack on. If it's not, then you need to look at what the doc's telling you and why he's telling you what to do. And he's going to give you the most sensible and the best informed decision on where you should go next with the whole steroid cycle. So going back to why it is that you would take steroids and what it is that you want to achieve out of it. Again, goal orientated, so you've got to just think about it very, very carefully, and make sure that it's something that you think that you need to be doing, I guess. Is there any questions on that little period before we go? What age?
Normally, because obviously these days, you just mentioned, youngsters are on it, or people don't even know clue about it.
And what's the, you know, like you were talking about 19, 20, 21 year olds taking harsh stuff like Clen. What is the implications of the endocrine system?
Well, so I mean, firstly, to answer Mabs' question, I think that's a hard, very hard question to answer, because you can either look at it as wait until your natural potential's over and you feel like your testosterone's dipped, which is different in every male. I mean, some people, like there's the genetic anomalies, there's the people that will never ever need to take anything in their life. I mean, Africans, West Indians, that side of the world, their genetics are better than Asians, English, all the other nations. Their bodies are built differently. They're built, I guess, more resilient to everything. So the stimulus that you're going to be giving them in the gym, like everybody knows that black guy that's like 50, 60 years old and he's still ripped and still looks sick and trains hard and just eats what his mum's fed him his whole life. Do you know what I mean? Like, they have great metabolisms. They're built, like, our bodies are built the way they're built because of how they needed to be built hundreds of years ago, where we're from. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you think about Africa and places like that, how their bodies built now is based on how they had to be built then and how they had to survive. So their bodies are genetically enhanced in comparison to ours, mine. So some people, Mabs, will never ever have to need to take it. So you can't really give an answer to that question because everybody's going to be different and everybody's opinion's going to be different. So like, I know people that have trained for like 10 years but they're still only 27, 28 and they've decided to go and get it. I don't know whether that's a good decision or a bad decision, but it's their decision. So it's not my place to say, because in their minds, they've trained for 10, 12 years consistently and trained hard. And in their minds, it's time for them to make that next step. The guy that I've got in my head is trying to get his pro card, an IFBB pro card. So it's like, I can't tell him it's wrong. I don't personally think it's wrong. He thinks it's the right thing to do to take himself to the next level to compete against the best people in the world. So it's more of an ethics and a morals kind of thing. It's like everybody's going to have a different opinion on this. So I'm only going to give you my opinion on it. And I'm quite broad and open-minded on it because it all depends on what you've been through, what you've done, what you've achieved and what you want to achieve. So these factors all have to be weighed up and all have to be really, really thought about. But my general opinion is, unless it's a really, really big goal, don't bother. That's what I think. Mo, about young people taking hardcore steroids like Clen, etc. I mean, again, it depends on the body and what it can take, what it can manage in terms of damage. Some will be able to take a lot more than others, but Tren's well known for increasing your cholesterol, so your lipid profile, which is obviously not good for your heart. The longer you're in that state, the longer that your lipids are affected, your cholesterol affected, the more risk of heart disease you can create. So let's say you're on Tren for fucking a year. That's gonna make your cholesterol raise high for that long, that you're gonna get issues in your veins and arteries. They're gonna start getting blocked up. You're gonna get problems in your heart. Like, without a doubt, something dodgy is gonna happen in terms of blood flow and the way that your heart functions. So staying on anything that hard for a long time is not a good idea. Anything like that, which is very harsh, shouldn't really be taken for much longer than 6 to 8 weeks at a time, with a very, very long break in between that time of taking it ever again. Again, bloods need to be done while on, while off, and in the long break in between, because you want to try and get that cholesterol down and keep it down. It doesn't really make sense getting that cholesterol up, coming off for a few weeks so it goes down, and then back on and it goes back up. That's still going to create long-term problems. So you need to try and stay off those kind of compounds for a long time. So this is where this conversation can get a little bit confusing, because there's so many different types of steroids which all have different impacts on your health. Testosterone being the safest, you can stay on that. Like I said, TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, you'll be on that for the rest of your life from the doctor. So if you think about it, being a little bit higher than what the doctor's going to give you isn't really that scarily serious. Whereas a drug that you shouldn't ever take for longer than 6 to 8 weeks is something completely fucking different. So it's like scales, it's completely different. Like, it's hard to talk about everything in one go because of the difference in their effectiveness in terms of what you will look like from taking them and the potential damage that they can cause. Let's have a look. So yeah, keeping the heart healthy while on. There's a company called Supplement Needs that I use quite a lot, and obviously I have a sponsor called Trained by JP Nutrition, and without me plugging it, generally is probably the utmost highest quality supplement brand in the world right now. It's really expensive. The guy puts a lot of his own money into things because he knows how damaging things are. So they do a heart supplement called Love Heart. Supplement Needs do one called CV Stack. Then they do a kidney and blood pressure stack and a liver stack. You want to be taking all of those three alongside any single course that you're taking. And that's just going to give you that cover the bases kind of thing. And just like I said earlier, minimize the risk. It's not going to eradicate it, but it's going to give you a little bit more peace of mind knowing that you're doing everything that you can to keep yourself healthy as possible whilst doing something that's not healthy. And then there is obviously movement, cardiovascular work. So just because you're trying to gain weight doesn't mean you should just sit down and do nothing all day. I know I was joking earlier, like, don't move if you want to gain. But at the end of the day, how do you keep your heart healthy? By moving, by doing exercise, not necessarily just lifting weights, cardiovascular work. A bit of a cross trainer every day, 20 to 30 minutes is never going to hurt anyone. You're not going to lose any muscle tissue. Just make sure that you're eating enough that you're not going to be losing weight. That 20, 30 minutes every single day is just going to keep that ticker moving a little bit better and keep it lasting a little bit longer for you. Then we have curcumin. Curcumin's a turmeric, kind of turmeric that is, you can get in tablet form, you can get it in a liquid form now as well. And that is a natural anti-inflammatory, and that also helps with lipid health, so your cholesterol. That's a very, very good health supplement to take. Why is curcumin also very good? Because it's a natural anti-inflammatory, you're not then putting any drugs that are manufactured into your body. Not many of you might not know this, but ibuprofen, which is an anti-inflammatory, prevents muscle protein synthesis. So have you ever heard of MPS? So basically you want to spike MPS, that's how you grow. You want to be spiking that every 2 to 3 hours. And anti-inflammatories, ibuprofen, prevent that from happening. So if you're training hard and you're going home and having enough ibuprofen because you feel like it's going to help you reduce inflammation, don't do it, because you're just preventing yourself from making some gains, to be honest. So that's why you want to stick with the natural curcumin. It's an anti-inflammatory, but a natural version that won't disrupt any of your or training or improvements. And then, yeah, when it comes down to gear, let's not forget that aside from your steroids, there are other drugs that you would take potentially in bodybuilding that will also aid you in your journey, but then again aren't legal. So we've got fat burners like Clen, which is originally an asthma drug. So that is thermogenic, raises your heart rate, makes you a little bit jittery. That's a very good fat burner. It doesn't have any kind of long-term negative health adversities, but again, you shouldn't be staying on it long. You should be taking it for the time that you need to take it and then come off it. The thing is with drugs, performance enhancing drugs especially, they are addictive like any other drug. When you see yourself looking fucking sick, you know when you stop taking that, you're not going to look like that. So you need to be strong mentally to be able to detach from how good you look and think about how healthy you want to be. So that's something that's really important, I feel, because we're all doing this to look good, bodybuilding. Like, we're all doing it to make ourselves look the best that we can look. So you get carried away with that, and next thing you know, you're addicted to steroids and you're never going to come off. You're going to fuck your endocrine system. You're not going to be able to have kids. Your lipids, your cholesterol's going to go through the roof. You're going to have heart issues. Your kidney and liver are going to be fucking struggling because you're going to be putting so many different tablets and everything running through your body, toxic shit that your body doesn't want in it. Fighting against it. Your immune system's down. Your mood's shit. It's just a whole kind of like shitstorm that could happen potentially if you can't be strong enough to mentally detach from that. So you need to be able to know when you're shooting for that goal of getting on stage and wanting to win your competition, that's the goal. The goal isn't, and then I want to look like that forever and never look any different. Does that come hand in hand with what you said about like the less is more? So when you stop taking it, there's less you're stopping, therefore there's less of an impact you're going to have on what you look like when you stop. Yeah, definitely, because your body's not solely reliant on it, for sure. That's definitely a good point to make. But yeah, as I said, like Mo just said, less is more. So the less you're taking when it does come down to coming up, the less difference your body's going to have. Here's the doc. This is the man. So let's bring him in. We're talking about your field, bro. The doc, how you doing, bro? You good? How you doing? So this is Doc Imran. Let's get him in here quickly. Come on.
Do you want to do some bicep curls?
No training. So I've been speaking to him about drugs and performance enhancing drugs.
About 1 gram a day normally. If you microdose it 8 times a day, it's no way enough. Then take a diet of them afterwards.
Yeah. So basically, I've given you a plug already, Transform Now.
Okay.
This is the doc. If any of you are ever thinking about running down that route, you need to go see this guy first, get your bloods done, find out what situation your insides are in. After that, He can advise you on what he thinks is the safest route to go down. Then again, book in again, get your bloods done again, see where you're at a little bit later on down the line. He can then advise you further on your health markers and tell you what he feels is the best decision for you to do to potentially get you in more of a healthy state. Is there anything you want to add though?
Yeah, Josh, you know, the drug should be the icing on the cake. You know, you're not going to win anything if you don't put the effort in, if you don't get your diet right, and you don't train. And when you look at like gorgeous guys like him and like sort of little one over there, and then you look at people like Luke Sando and you look at Dorian and all these greats, they're actually genetic freaks. You know, they've got a lot much more receptors. In simple terms, they can absorb drugs better. And they are, I mean, Eddie Hall, we could take what, all of us put together to take what Eddie Hall takes, and we still couldn't do a 500 kg dead. So you've got to bear that in mind. With like the girls here now, it's getting very popular now for girls to be popping Anavar and Clen and Tomox and things like this. They've really got to stay away from it. You know, long-term health, it is detrimental. The same thing that ultimately you're putting drugs into your system, there has to be a goal, there has to be a cost-benefit ratio. If you're just a normal guy, you're just training and, you know, just to keep fit, do you really need them? No, you don't. You probably do that on food and diet and training. You'll do that. If you're going to compete, even the national federations, they all take something. They're all liars. And bodybuilding is a notoriously liar sport. And they're great liars, they're great convincers. So the fact is that if you're going to do it, it's a big decision. It can be a life-changing decision. No one has died of testosterone, for example, compared to opiates. But you can't use the figure of opiates and say, well, opiates kill 100,000 people a year and nobody's died from testosterone. It's a micro level damage which happens. The sort of scarring of the kidneys which you won't feel.
It's over time.
Yeah, it's over, and there is always a price to pay. You know, from acne to hair loss to impotence to kidney failure to death. Right, now then the other argument would be, well look, 2 million people a year take gear and 6 people die, and statistically more plumbers die plumbing than they do from gear. Well, that's just a fucking stupid argument. That doesn't make any sense. Ultimately, you know, you will pay a price for the gear. If you're going to, you know, go to the older guys in the gym, not the guys who are selling the gear, because that's stupid, isn't it? You know, the guys who've been training a long time, learn off them, you reach a peak, and then you can take some gear, and then you can sort of, it's the icing on the cake. But otherwise, it's pointless. And, you know, I mean, like, looking like this guy, I could take all the gear I want, I'm never going to look like him. Probably him I could do, if I cut my legs off. Yeah, but you know, I'm never going to look like him. So you've got to, now we've got his picture on the wall, and people come in and say, oh, can I look like that in 3 months? Oh, it's a common thing. And you tell them you want to look like that your whole life. And so you've got to bear these things in perspective. It's the icing on the cake, it's not the cake.
Exactly. I've already touched on it and said, like, all it will do is improve you that little bit more, give you that little bit of an enhancement. It's never going to be what the building blocks that you should be looking at.
And I'll tell you, 2018, 18 people died from gear in the UK, 18 people. And approximately 35 people I know of who need dialysis. I think 6 who had strokes. They're the ones I know of. We're not looking at all the others in hospital who had strokes.
And you've got to remember the statistics of people dying from steroids. It can never be counted.
No.
Because you might die in 10 years because of the build-up of the issues that you've been creating.
Yeah.
So when you die in 10 years, they're not going to say it's because of steroids because they can't be sure. There's some fucking really unhealthy fat bastards with really high cholesterol, and then there's some guys in some sick shape who've been taking Tren for years who've got really high cholesterol. A dead body's a dead body, do you know what I mean? They can't then say one's been on steroids and one's not. They just die because of heart health. They die because of heart disease. So that statistic can never really be nailed on because of that. Because people don't die, like Doc said, of an opiate. It's not like an overdose. You can't take too much Tren in one sitting and then die. Yeah. So it's something that can't be measured.
Cardiovascular health, 15% is due to your diet and exercise. Now, and this is a shocking figure, 85% is genetic. So why don't all these fat bastards die? If you think about it, they all should have heart attacks. But they're 70 years old, sitting in a chair, eating sausages, drinking Pepsi and cheap cider, and they don't die. and a 35-year-old body will have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing, you're accelerating that genetic process.
It's like I said, you get the bodies, don't you? Like
Yeah.
you, in your experience, you would have seen those resilient bodies who come in taking all sorts, and you're like, why are your blood so clear? They're just anomalies.
Now, to give an example, an IFBB pro, I'm not going to name him, last week he's starting dialysis. Now, what you'll hear in the magazine soon and in the internet is that he's decided to stop training, and it was a genetic hereditary condition, but he's actually started dialysis last week. Now, this is fucking serious. Then you've got, because you're a young guy, now, if you think, you know, let's say Mabs is a big lifter and you've got other guys who are lifting big, compare that to Eddie Hall. Do you really want to take all that stuff to get a plastic trophy and for nothing? Spend thousands of pounds on gear and all the other sort of subsidiaries which come with it, and ultimately for what? Now, to give another figure for the young guys, currently at King's College, there's 1,517 guys under 25 undergoing fertility treatment with altered gear. You'll never hear about this from the coaches, from the thing. It's that cost-benefit ratio you have to think about. Yeah, of course, there's probably 10,000 guys who aren't taking it, but if you happen to be that poor fucker who's in that 1,517, girls not having periods, one small cycle, but it affects them differently, and their periods stop. The voice changes. Now, if you're a girl, you want a voice like mine, then carry on. But probably you shouldn't do. It's not that husky thing going on over the phone. It's like, it'd be scary. You're not going to pull a guy with that sort of voice. And I've tried, I know. So, it's you don't want to be doing that sort of stuff. Train to your peak, eat. And most guys, I reckon, if most guys train with Haider who think they train hard, I'd be surprised if they last a workout. Because everybody thinks they train hard. Yeah, everyone thinks, yeah, I'm a fucking beast in the gym. You know, I've got my little vest on, I've got my little iPhone to the side, and I've got my little earphones in, and I'm listening to Rocky. You know what? No, you're not. You're a pussy, probably. And the fact is that most guys don't train hard enough, they don't eat well enough, and this is why they look crap. They think I'll juice up, which is mainly water. The new Teddy Hughes generation 2, 20 kg in a month. 20 IU GH, 20 IU insulin, all water. Yeah, exactly. One of the guys is talking about, I'm having palpitations and I can't sleep. But I didn't stop, I carried on. So this is like saying that coke was so fucking good, I got a heart attack. That was pure coke because I got a heart attack. I nearly died, but the coke was good. Yeah, I can't move my wrist because of the growth hormone, but it's good growth hormone. I mean, it's just stupid, there's no logical sense to it. So, say no to drugs, kids.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Doc's pretty much reiterated what I said. Don't touch it unless the goal is that big, the magnitude of it requires you to do it.
And you're talented. That's not also, you're a genetic freak, you look aesthetic, you look good. If you don't, don't bother.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to be honest.
Is there any questions regarding that you guys want to chip in with or anything?
Is it good for 50-year-old to take it?
In your case, nothing's good, bro, to be honest. The amount of drugs you took in your life, you need to stop anything. Just stick to water, right, egg whites, nothing more than that. Anyone else, probably, for you, nah. Yeah. Next stupid question, anyone?
So generally, so there's a standard that happens, yeah? So we got a guy, comes in the gym, doesn't have a good, the still normal diet, eats whatever he wants, yeah? Comes in the gym, maybe 6 months, and doesn't train very hard, and then takes maybe 2 mil of test with maybe some trend, and then maybe drop some minstrel as well for 6 months. Okay, tell me about what's going to happen to that guy in general. I know everybody's different, but generally what happens to that guy, even though he thinks he's getting a bit bigger, fills his t-shirt up a bit more.
The thing is, I mean, if you just take if you just do this, just grab 3 random guys here. Let's Mabs the talk. Let's just get you come over, kid. What's your name?
Omar.
Omar. All right. So now we're 3 different sizes here, and let's get you because you're tiny. So you can only imagine how tall he is. I mean, that's him standing up, but he's about here. Now, so if all 4 of us took the same thing, we'd all have a different result, wouldn't we? Now I've got very long arms, very long legs. So your biceps might, on the appearance, get bigger, a lot of fluid. You're going to get sweats with a trend. You put Winstrol in, your lipid profile is going to go higher. your liver enzymes are going to get higher, and it's all a fake type of temporal physique. The minute you get off all of that, your tests are going to drop. Okay, you might get high estrogen, prolactin, get gyno. So for that 3 months I'm going on holiday because I want to look good on the beach, you know, my little Primark t-shirt on, it's all great. And then what's going to happen after that? The fat will start coming back on, those temporal muscle gains have gone. Was it really worth it?
The testosterone that you put in is gone.
Yeah.
It's even lower than it was before you started. You become depressed, you're not happy with how you look, and then that vicious circle starts again.
Yeah.
I've got to get back on the gear.
And it is a vicious circle. It's a body dysmorphia. If you're, you know, let's say your name's John and you're known as Big John in the gym, and now Big John isn't Big John, he's just Little John. It's hard to take. Yeah. And when your mates come to you and say, hey, you're looking small, you know, you're looking small now, and I mean, you got small legs, or you know, you're not right, and then you start.
When your whole life you've been building this physique to be called Big John, now all of a sudden everyone's cussing you down and telling you how you're not big anymore, when that's all you've done your whole life. Imagine that would hurt anyone.
I used to be fucking massive doc, and now I'm just doc, and it's like, it's upsetting, but it's like,
you know, stop gear since.
Yeah, I've been drinking it on the way here, but you know, psychologically it's very hard. So you know, you've got to put goals into your life. If you're studying, you're working, you've got to be able to earn money to buy gear. There's got to be a ultimate goal to it. Now if you're a pro bodybuilder, you've got the talent, it's a cost-benefit ratio. It might help you in your career, get your sponsorships, you do well. Out of all the pros you know, how many are making money?
Not many.
You know, barely making a living. So you've got to put things in perspective. To take it to you know, to look good, you can probably do most of that naturally. Diet is extremely hard. You know, if you can manage that diet, you know, you can contact Haider afterwards and for diet plans and training plans. If you can pin that diet down, you'll look good anyway.
Definitely.
And girls, you know, on a pound for pound ratio, anecdotally, are always going to be stronger, but they also have periods. And I know guys have periods nowadays as well, but we don't want to get into that. But, you know, so during that time, they get a bit of water retention. So the worst thing to do is to take tamoxifen or Arimidex to push that water out for girls. And I know a lot of coaches are giving it out. It's not worth it. It just really isn't worth it. And I've been working with gear my whole life, and I'm still saying it's not worth it. So put everything in perspective. Look at your big goals, what you can achieve, what you can't achieve. If I said I'm going to be, well, think of it another way. If you're 5'6", or like 5 foot in his case, and you want to be 6 foot, you're never going to be 6 foot, are you? It's just not going to happen. So if you think that you're 80 kg and you're going to beat Eddie Hall's record, it's just not going to happen. So be realistic. Keep your feet on the ground. You know, be realistic. It's not going to happen.
That's so true. Like,
it's harsh. It's painful.
It is harsh.
It is what it is.
The other thing is, you've got to be realistic, because there's so many people out there on social media telling you to chase your goals and don't ever give up and dream big. And I say that at the same time, but there has to be a cut-off, there has to be a line drawn. I'm not here sitting there thinking I want to be even the next Phil Heath, because it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I know what I can achieve potentially, and that's what I'm aiming for. So don't, like Doc says, 80 kg guy trying to be Eddie Hall. It's just unrealistic, and all you're going to do is fuck yourself in pursuit of it. So you've got to be realistic, but I'm not telling you not to be ambitious also. So it's like getting that balance.
Also, look and comp yourself at your level. Look at the bad decisions. You know, it's a very subjective sport, and it's, you know, you've tried your best, you've done everything, you should have won, but you don't win, and there's nothing you can do about it. But you should have won. It happens all. Yeah, it happens all the time. So, you know, you've got to have something else backing you, an education, a trade, a job.
Exactly.
It's not, the likelihood of you making money out of bodybuilding or powerlifting is probably zero. I mean, it's not going to happen. You know, that dream, you know, I'm going to open a gym and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's not going to happen. You know, be realistic. Look after your health. Ultimately, if you're sitting at 35 years old, impotent, infertile, living in a little flat somewhere, miserable, reading Flex magazines, you know, as I've been doing, it's not going to happen. You know what? Forget it, guys. Get a job, get a girlfriend, get a missus. You know.
Just remember that. Just remember that, and just remember that. That being said, doesn't mean you can't still look good. Doesn't mean you can't still train hard. Doesn't mean you can't still have fun in the gym. Doesn't mean you can't still have big goals and photo shoot goals and amateur competitions. It just means don't abuse steroids. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't think big and want to do great things with your physique, but don't overshot the mark and expect too much from something that ain't never gonna get there. It's just differentiating. That's what you've got to do.
Well, you're competing with yourself. Every show, if you're better, if you're stronger, your totals are better every show. You're looking better. So you're winning.
You're winning. That's it.
You're achieving.
It's like I said earlier. Remember, you've got to enjoy the journey. You've got to enjoy the transformation. You've got to learn that what you're doing on that journey is something that is impactful. You're changing your physique. You've gone from fat to absolutely shredded on stage. That's a massive achievement.
In underpants.
Siri trying to talk. He wants to get involved. No, but that's the thing. It's not easy. It's really not. So to be able to have a goal like that isn't a bad thing. But to be able to have an unrealistic goal it can be a very dangerous.
Just to add on finally, bear in mind that as you get older, your goals change.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you're young, it may be your whole life is based upon this. 5 years later, it may be something different. And just bear that in mind. Aim for the stars, they say, but keep your feet on the ground.
Yeah. Great. Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Cool.